May it be a light for you in dark places when all other lights go out.
Hey guys, this is DCHL Devin here.
This is DCHL Walker.
And welcome back to another episode of A Light in the Dark. And this is our question and answer forum where you guys post questions in the comment section below and we go ahead and answer them. We answer questions from all our videos. And this is very similar to Speak Friend and Question, though unlike that, these are a bit shorter and just also cover some of the topics in the community, such as the One Ring forums. However, because we were a little behind last week, we're only going to cover questions today. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
We have a lot of questions.
We do. We actually have a lot of questions we got to cover.
I like this, guys. Keep doing this. We're fine. We don't need to look up other questions.
Then we'll just keep covering questions all day.
Yeah.
So Quinn, the James Slayer, I think he's talking about GBHL James. So Quinn, the James Slayer Duggan. Actually, if you are talking about GBHL James, then we need you for Team America in Nova, because we have to slay James at that event. But
we have to slay a lot of British guys, so it's okay.
He says he's just going to keep throwing lists at us. So he has a 750 point list where he has you can see it up on the screen here, the Goblin King led by 12 goblins, Grinna with 12 goblins, Goblin Scribe with 12 goblins, two Goblin Town captains with 12 goblins each, Moria Shaman with 2 Marauders, and Moria Shaman with 2 Marauders. And he wants to know what we think of that. Well, obviously you went for numbers, because holy God, that is a lot of goblins.
I like goblins. I'm with you here.
Yeah.
It's good list. Good list.
That's
man.
like, what was it, like 71 goblins in the list? Is that what you counted?
Yeah, I think that's right.
There are 71 units, or models. So it is a lot of goblins. I mean, honestly, I love the list. I think you are going in absolute mass. The 2 Warg Marauders are a nice touch, in my opinion. The only thing I could say is, and it's unfortunate that it's so hard to fit it in, is like a drum. And I'm specifically talking about the Gundabad one, mostly because that one's the one that affects all goblins, I believe. Any goblins get affected. The other one only affects Moria goblins. So the thing about the drum is, not only, yes, obviously you get the banner, but it also increases the courage of the scribe. I have found that if you can increase the courage of the scribe, it is better to not have him under the effects of fury. You will actually get more goblins by just strictly rolling. Your chances have gone up quite a bit. Your percentage, I forgot what the percentages are, but it's a really high percentage, from 3 to 4 courage. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
So plus you're getting drums, so that always helps too. The ability to re-roll.
I really think the drummer is worth it. You would lose a whole warband. Yeah. And the reason why this is not a problem for you is because the drum makes your army one, move faster.
Yeah.
Gives you an extra point.
It doesn't make you move faster. No, it doesn't make.
Oh, they can move. The drums can move. Sorry. It
doesn't make you move faster, but it just counts as an 18-inch banner, and the
18-inch banner and minus 1 courage. Minus 1 courage to your opponent, plus 1 courage to you. But because the Goblin Scribe will be generating more goblins all the time for you at a better rate,
it's probably not going to really affect you.
It's not going to make much difference. You're already, even losing a whole warband, you're going to have more warbands than everybody else anyways.
You don't want to lose too many because your breaking point needs to remain high if you're going to start summoning goblins. I know this sounds terrifying, but the only way you can really grab these in is to take out 2 Morg Marauders and a bunch of goblins. Or maybe 1 Morg Marauder at the most. And a Goblin Town Captain and 12 goblins.
Or get rid of all the Moria guys and just put more Goblin Town goblins in. You would break 100. You would. And it would be ridiculous.
What do you mean? Like take out all the Warg Marauders?
Yeah, take out all the Shaman and the Marauders. Get rid of them. Don't need them. Just put in more goblins. That's my recommendation. All Goblin Town goblins and the Goblin King, and just watch your opponent go. I don't have enough attacks. I can't kill you. How awesome! Oh, I want to do that now.
I think the 4 Warg Marauders is a good utility. I do think that having the drums probably does your list a little bit better than the Warg Marauders themselves. I know Warg Marauders are the premier, closest to broken model in the game, but I don't know. It's real tough. I mean, you're asking me what I think of it. I think your list as is now is awesome. I mean, the scribe can just auto pass his tests. I mean, he'll only roll a d3, but he'll get more goblins in. You already have a lot of goblins. You're going for numbers, so I don't want to take out too many. And the Warg Marauders are a nice touch. The thing is, when we talk about Warg Marauders, what are they doing here that the list can't provide on its own? And it's really speed. But if you have goblins coming in from all the edges, then you already cover that. So
just because you have models everywhere on the battlefield,
yeah,
there's nowhere your opponent can go.
Yeah. So then we're talking about pure power. Well, yeah, strength 4, but your Goblin Town axes cover that. So you can, because you don't care about your defense.
And then whirlwind for the ball and chain.
Yeah. So basically, you already got the power aspect of it. And, I mean, wounds, well, you just have a crap ton of goblins. So, I mean, when I look at the Warg Marauder, it shoots and stuff like that, but it's not really doing anything particularly for you that you really, really, really needed. It's a harasser unit. I usually will fit in a Warg Marauder when my list is smaller than this, and maybe even includes Druzhag or something, but in this list, it seems like just some unit you threw in there because you knew it was really good, rather than it's really synergetic with your list. Other than the fact that he generates speed for you. I think the Goblin King already does the amount of power that you need. If you need a hard hitter, you don't really have any other than the Goblin King anyway. If you go up against a hero, your Warg Marauders are done. They're not going to survive hero encounters too much anyway. So you might as well just bog the hero down in more goblins that are furied, so they don't get the terror, and then you're now trap striking them all over the place. I really think just simply the act of having more goblins in your list
this is
will do you
750
better
points too.
than that. Yeah, it is a 750. So
It's wrong. It's wrong. So wrong.
Why?
So we usually around here we play 700 points, so that's what I automatically did in my mind. So I did a little math, right, while he was yapping away, and you break 100 models if you just take Goblin Town goblins.
Yeah,
not including the extra ones you get to summon in.
I'd still take the drum, but
you have to kill 50 models before you start breaking.
This is where I think the Warg Marauders.
So wrong.
I actually agree with him in a sense because I'm like, I think the Warg Marauders are just hurting your break point more than anything, and you're relying on all this. I actually think you should just do exactly what your list is meant to do, which is to just way overwhelm with goblins, and that's your objective. Is just to way overwhelm them with goblins, and so
it's ridiculous.
It's just a thought of mine. I don't think they're doing anything really other than being kind of a slight pain in the ass.
Can I borrow your models and do this list?
Yeah,
I want to play this list against somebody. And watch their jaw drop and be like,
"Why are so many models in the field?"
Crap.
But like I said, even in our battle report, even we did something similar to what you did. Even at 500 points, we threw in a couple spiders.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes those hard hitters are worthwhile, so there's nothing wrong with your list. So I actually think it's pretty strong.
It's a good
list.
We
are going to have to move on from this question,
sadly,
just for time. So we're going to go on to the next one.
You have inspired me, though. I must play.
From XTS Warzone. Hey guys, thanks for answering my questions in the last vid. Really cleared things up. My question today is, what would you say would be the minimum point game you would feel a War Mumak of Harad? Personally, he likes his profile, as you can have it all. So your unit can have shooting attack, 6 Roger Warriors with bow, Karna upgrade, 3-up shoot value, and then 6 Watchers of Karna, and then upgrade the Mumak to have throwing stones. Alright, so basically, first question, part of this question is really the question itself, what is the minimum point value?
700, 750.
Really? I would say slightly lower.
600? I wouldn't put in anything less than that.
The most you could push it is 500 points. And no, I know
it's like crazy. Your whole army at that point.
You can't use the Karna and stuff like that. All the extra little things, you can't use that. But it is practically your army. Because what is 12 times 6? What is that? It's like 72 points, I think. Is it?
Very good. Yeah. You
So
did math
72
right.
points. Then plus the.
Yeah, you got to calm down with the point.
Yeah, that's right. So the War Mummic.
Yeah, so if
So
you
basically-
played in 500 points, you're looking at that is your warband.
You're
The Mummic Hill
basically
with a
getting a
warband
basic
on top.
crew. Well, what you would do is you'd get a Mummic, your basic crew with just the regular bow shots and everything, and then you'd bring maybe one upgrade on the Mummic, and then a bunch of Harajim Raiders or some kind of foot troop. So the best you could do is 500 points. Now, if you want all the stuff, what you're talking about, rocks and Karna upgrades and all that, then 600-700 points is probably where I'd throw them in. And the reason why you probably want to wait till 700, because at the point of which you're getting to 600, you're going to start to see things that can really bring down your Mummic fast. And that's where a lot of people don't understand. Against experienced players, one Mummic kill with no support, like a Shadow Lord or another Mummic or something else, yeah, I mean, they're going to bring it down so fast, especially without a Beastmaster. If you do not have that or some way to protect him, your Mummic is going down fast.
Sadly.
So you're really, it's like 500, and then after that, it's like 700, like Walker said. That's pretty much the
I would say, honestly, 700 points, that way you can get a good feel. It can have the support it needs, and it'll be a terror on the battlefield. So.
Yes. Cool. So next we have a question from the Rogue General Hunter. And he says, what do you consider to be a Wood Elf, and what are High Elves? The Gladrim list is made up of Mirkwood Elves and Lothlorien Elves. Are they both Wood Elves for this comparison? In that case, should it be Gladrim versus Rivendell? This is actually a fantastic question, because it is a kind of a wonder, what is Wood Elf, what is High Elf? And you pretty much nailed it right there. Gladrim are considered, by all technicality, Wood Elves.
Yes.
Some people would separate the Gladrim and just call them strictly Gladrim, where there's 3 types of elves. And when you watch my How to Play videos, you almost get that feeling where there is High Elves, which is the Rivendell and Aragorn type. What is it? Aragorn? I forgot how to pronounce it. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Aragorn.
But yeah, in Rivendell. Then you have the Gladrim, which are kind of your mediocre elves. They're kind of like the balance in between. And then you have Mirkwood. And the reason that got separated, before you would never have separated them, but with the new Thranduil's Hall's army, now you're starting to see this kind of a weird separation with them, where they're 2 different types of Wood Elves. So you could say that when someone says Wood Elves, they're really talking about Mirkwood, just straight Mirkwood, since they've been almost separated out.
So, and the reason why this is because of the story. Mirkwood is actually a bigger forest that's north next to the Lonely Mountain. And Lothlorien is actually a smaller forest that's right next to Moria. And that's why they're 2 separate wooden kingdoms that have their own leaders, which is Galadriel and Celeborn for Lothlorien, and then Thranduil for Mirkwood.
Here's what I'd argue you're going to see in the future. Right now you see these Thranduil, Legolas, and Mirkwood Sentinels and stuff are all in the Galadrim army, but they're not in Thranduil's halls. I'm going to argue that you're going to see them separated very soon. I think that they're going to start to move and shift toward Thranduil's halls, and then you're going to see 3 different types of Wood Elves, which is High Elves.
3 different types of elves.
Or 3 different class of, or armies of elves, I should say.
Rivendell, Lothlorien, and Mirkwood.
Yeah.
Which are the 3 realms that
but even when that splits like that, Lothlorien still technically would be Wood Elves.
Well, they live in the forest.
Yeah, I mean...
They all do. Actually, Rivendell is in a forest.
Yeah, technically it is. What makes it... I forgot what the lore, what considers the High Elves to be high. Because there's also other ones. There's like Green Elves and Gray Elves. And
true. So it's the Elven families when they first came to Middle-earth. It was the different factions that they were a part of. And just as a general synopsis, that's not 100% correct. I know that. I'm a big Tolkien fan, obviously. But as a general synopsis, it's the elves that started those kingdoms were those types. The Rivendell was the High Elves. They were actually the rulers of all of the elves in Middle-earth. So there was actually at one point the the High Lord of...
It's like those Sindarian elves and Quenya elves.
The High King of Elves, which was... The last one was Gilgalad, who died during the War of the Ring against Sauron. He was the last High King of Elves, and those were all High Elves. The other Elven Kings were of the lesser houses, so to say. Is a good way to put it.
All right. So, so when you... Just to wrap up that question, when you hear us say Wood Elves... Generally, we are talking about Thranduil's halls.
Right.
So
we'll say Lothlorien because I play Lothlorien.
Usually, we'll literally say that.
Yeah.
So, but all right then. Next, we're gonna go to Akathon 39, and basically, he was just complimenting us on the videos, and he was talking about actually his list, where he had basically a ton of dwarves, and he was talking about how his new list compared to his old list was meant to spam out the cheaper defense 7 troops and make them harder to break or lose certain scenarios. And he also wanted to spam out might, which is why he got Myrn and Drawer. Actually, you can see on the screen here his old list, the list that we critiqued. We did this in an old Light in the Dark episode.
That was like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So you can see we've been gone for a little bit. So
we did ones last week.
Yeah, he had these 1 week ago is when he posted it.
Oh yeah, he posted it last week. Okay, I got you. I'm with you.
So basically, he just says, with this taking all this into account, what do we think of his new list? And when we're talking about his old list, and actually I'll just go ahead and answer this really fast. I think that the bodyguard and everything he's made a difference in is actually much more effective. Actually, we should probably pull up that old list, actually.
This is the Khazad Guard one.
Yeah, this is the Khazad Guard one.
Oh, okay.
I actually think his new list is stronger. And actually, I remember we went back and we talked about Myrn and Drawer.
Yeah.
And the new list is actually a lot stronger, in my opinion. You do have more might. You have more of that. I forgot the recommendations that we've made.
Well, we were talking about Gimli versus Dwalin.
Yes, and I'd still say, and actually, then what do you say about Dwalin here? Dwalin, he had in his force was champion of Erebor. He is much more expensive than Gimli. 23 base orcs exactly.
I like how you put that. That's good.
23 base orcs more expensive.
Because he's taking the
champion. Yeah, that's right. He's
taking the If you take the champion of Erebor, yes, he's going to be more expensive. Take Thorin's Company Dwalin. There's a
we were talking about because Thorin's Company Dwalin is actually only like
he's
only 2 orcs more expensive.
1 orc, I think.
Should be 2 orcs more expensive.
Yeah, well, I'll look at it.
But it should be like 2 orcs more expensive. It's not much. So we had recommended swapping those 2, and
1 orc. 1 orc, no upgrades.
Yeah, so I still think Dwalin is just a superior option to Gimli. But otherwise, yes. If you're gonna play in scenarios, and actually this goes to even those competing in like our tournaments or even probably GBHLs, you want to max out on numbers as much as possible. So I absolutely agree that your new list is stronger based on that, just based on that fact alone. You also the bodyguard, it's gonna make a huge difference. All that Khazad Guard and stuff like you're throwing around. Yeah, I actually agree with your new list. I like it a lot better. So definitely for following up on that, I absolutely agree with you. So for our another question, we'll see if we have time for a last one after this. But we have Jeremy Smith. He actually saw our battle report.
They had some questions. I guess we were doing something wrong.
I'm sorry?
We were doing something.
Yeah, he actually had some questions about our battle report. This is the Goblin Town battle report, Durin's Folk versus Goblin Town. In Goblin Town, our terrain Goblin Town that we have, and which we'll be bringing to Nova. And so he asked, first for number 1, 14 minutes and 25 seconds in. Spider at the top of the ladder loses a fight to the Vault Warden at the bottom. The spider moves back, and the Vault Warden climbs the ladder. However, since ladders are defended positions, and the Vault Warden did not kill the spider, it should not have moved back. And had the Vault Warden tried to wound, he would have gotten in the way for the barrier. So it was under our impression that you automatically will move back in a fight if you lose the fight, and then the model comes and takes your place. Now, as far as having to kill the model, let's go ahead and check that out.
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now.
All right, so
Welcome
after reviewing the rule book, we went ahead and for your first question, should the spider have moved back? And I believe we found out the answer is no.
No.
So
you were right. I
yeah.
should have been much better on that.
So we'll go ahead and annotate that in the video that the spider should not have moved back. I actually should have been pushed back. Now, the big question is, would that made a hell of a lot of difference? Probably. With him not...
I killed all those guys down there, so no, right?
Yeah.
Actually, no.
No.
The Vault
They
Wardens
came
got
up, and then they eventually...
They stopped the goblins that were coming around the bend there.
Yeah, I don't think the times when Murren was completely surrounded, it would have made too much of an impact. He's going to beat a bunch of goblins, and I had plenty of might to do it with. In fact, I spent all my might just like killing a single goblin.
Well, remember, the Vault Warden team held on one turn for Murren to get across the rocky outcrop. I mean, honestly, you don't need to go back and edit stuff. Yeah, we got the rule wrong, but it's all right. You pointed it out to us, man, and we've read it, and we now know the rule.
Yeah, rules mistakes will happen because, I mean, rules mistakes happen in every single game.
Yeah.
And you even say at the bottom here, you're not, like, trying to diminish our efforts or anything, but you're just preparing for
me. Honestly, man, I appreciate pointing out the rules that we missed so that way we can be better at the rules, and that way our battle reports are more complete and thorough.
Exactly.
And that way we can teach everyone else in the land of YouTube.
So another thing, and keep in mind, guys, while I talk about these questions, climbing does not occur as much as it does on this board. Yeah. So make sure your climbing rules are way up to date because you are climbing a lot.
On the Goblin Town board, we were not using the climbing rules unless we were going over some difficult terrain. We were using underneath climbing on page 28 of the rule book. It has ladders, ropes, and similar. Basically, they just count as vertical terrain. That doesn't count as difficult and doesn't need a climbing test. Yeah. That's what we were counting those out as, and we were also counting them as elevated positions, so barriers.
And I highly recommend you guys kind of do the same. So when the dwarf got pushed back, he asks here that the dwarf loses a fight and climbs down the rope in order to back away. Based on the description Walker just gave, the answer is no. He just simply climbs down. It's considered vertical terrain, based on that page in the book. And he's looking in the mini rule book, so if you look at the page number.
I think the page numbers actually match up.
Oh, great. All right, perfect.
There's just more pages in the big book, and they're bigger.
Yeah. So yeah, he basically just climbs right back down. Yeah. And then the last question he has, he said 39 minutes and 40 seconds in. Dwarves won priority and were broken. Did they make courage checks?
No.
We forgot. So we were so concerned with the fact that the goblins were about to lose. Now, here's the thing.
No, wait. We did. Remember, because the train was going by at the time, and I was like, hey, do you want to watch you take courage checks? But you said, nah, don't worry about it, because I'm going to pass them all, and he passed them all.
Okay.
He did.
Yeah, that's right.
So, we did not film it.
Yeah, because of the train.
Because it wasn't relevant. Well, so it was, technically.
Yeah, all right. So two things about this. Number one, if you guys notice and you really listen, you'll hear a train noise during battle reports and during even some of my older videos. This is when I film in my house. Unfortunately, I have a train track right by my house. Here we film at Walker's house. There's no trains, so we don't have to ever stop the video. But during bat reps, a lot of those boards you guys see are already at my house, so it's just easier to keep them there. So we have to stop
here.
Yeah, basically.
We need to move here, closer by.
So we had to stop the video for trains. Now, I guess at the time I didn't think it was important because we did pass the Dwarven priority, but it really wasn't a big deal anyway because Murren and Drawer have a really high courage anyway, and then remember I have a shield bearer near Murren, so I reroll fails. And Drawer still had his will left to pass it.
You had characters around all your troops. So.
Yeah, there was no way I was going to ever fail. The only ones who could have failed were probably the Vault Warden, but they passed. So,
those two that were there.
Yeah, they were kind of in the middle of the map, but even if they had failed, it would have done nothing, they would have died, and that's it, and then the goblins still would have done the exact same thing.
Kept running towards the board edge. And then Goblin King got
So
wounded.
even if he had ran on the bottom, they still would have had the shots, dwarves. So, but for you guys, just to know, yes, in order to to replace the position of a model when you're climbing up to try to, when they're defending a barrier,
you have to kill them. And then, so you have to kill them, so you make space, and then you have to hope you get priority next round. Now, there is a way, because you can't move up if you kill them.
Yeah.
It's just you kill them, and then you've opened up space so you can move up next turn. However, if you're defending an elevated position, and there's only one guy up there, because if you have multiple attackers, each of those attackers and the one defender fight one battle each.
Also, there's another situation where he talks about...
and if you win that, and then... Yeah, I should probably finish explaining that.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
So, if there was one goblin defending against the two dwarfs on the bottom, and say the dwarven defender killed the goblin first, well, the other dwarf warrior could move up as the combat is finished. Because he does not need to fight, he gets to get up. So that would have been fine. So yeah, we did do that a little wrong, but I would have held off the doors longer, which would have been better for me, so I might have won. Yeah. Anyways.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, pretty much anyone who saw the video knows that I won by sheer absolute luck.
And more dice rolls on my part.
Yeah, that was the luck. The match itself was kind of like a tie.
It was.
It really should have probably been a tie by all respects. The ending is what changed the entire thing, and it was absolute bad rolls.
Pretty epic. If you have not watched it, go and watch it, guys. The ending is pretty epic. It failed on my part. So
unfortunately, I kind of spoiled it, I guess. But it's still fun to watch. It's still a really good match. There's a lot of back and forth that goes on to it. So, but yeah, it was just the last ending rolls. I mean, that last second of the game, literally the last second. It was the last dice roll that would ever be made in the game. Not even because we just ended it early. No, it was it. And
the goblins have broken. The scribe had finally run away.
And what's sad is the odds were so much in Walker's favor.
They were.
I had so many goblins in his favor. No, it was because you had to. It was the
spiders actually. I think did it for me because they just charged across the battlefield, ignoring that difficult terrain. So they were skittering everywhere, climbing down poles, and then they managed to bottleneck you at your end of the board, and that was awesome. It was an awesome tactic. It almost made me be able to push through. If I had pushed through your right side a little bit faster, I would have got. I needed one more turn.
Yeah.
To get towards the table edge, I would have got a whole warband off, and I would have won. There would have been nothing he could have done.
So as the last thing, he mentions this question, or just this last little footnote, new dick move question.
Okay.
So if you guys don't know, Jeremy Smith is the one who came up with our last dick move, which if you haven't seen it, I think is our best one yet.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, so he came up with that. We actually didn't even think about the fact that, you could throw models up. So he talked about, can spiders climb on the underside of walkways, thus denying line of sight? Yes, their rules state that they can climb anything regardless of angle, so they can be upside down if they want to be.
Now, how to have the model stay there?
Yeah, so there's also a rule in this game that says the model must be able to balance. Now, I assume that this negates that, and you would just simply say, yeah, he's on the roof, and I'd be acceptable with that.
I'd be fine with that if you say he's on the roof. But also, if you had magnets on the base and the piece of terrain had some sort of magnetic thing that you could attach to,
yeah, but I mean that's fine.
You could do that.
Finest.
But if you build a board for your spider army,
we did. It's called Goblin Town.
It's pretty epic, guys. That board was a lot of fun to play on, I must say.
Well, as far as a dick move on this, if it's one thing to say deny line of sight, but you're denying yourself too, so you can't charge. Remember, you don't have fell sight, so if you don't have any line of sight, then you're just kind of sitting there. You can't be shot at. That's cool, I guess. I'm trying to think of how that would be a dick move, though. That guy
spiders fall from the ceiling to that. Actually, they would have to take strength falling.
Yeah, I don't know how many areas where that would work.
It did not line of
it's not
sight
like
for
we-
shooting at them, but then they could like attack the things at the bottom or whatever.
Maybe
They got
so.
10-inch
If we were in the
wood.
world of 40K, yes. Because
Wait,
buildings
whoa,
everywhere.
We're getting off topic. We could build an awesome oh dude, we should get Reich's Wargaming to build like a dwarven city like Moria because they had all the big roofs.
We actually have one. Had one. We played on it.
Well, had is not having.
Well, maybe. Well, we'll see. He's building right now an 11-foot Star Destroyer for Nova, so he's really caught up. But for right now, if we can find a way to make that really, really cool and like really broken, then yes, or really silly.
We'll work on it.
So, that's the end of that. That's our questions for today. So go ahead and comment in the comment section below if you guys have any questions or anything even just stuff we talked about in this video. Also, definitely like our Facebook page, which is on our website, dchobbitleague.com, and there you'll see lots of new content and stuff like that. And definitely join us and the GBHL for Nova, and hopefully we see all of you guys soon.
Later, guys.